Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40K video. Now before we get into today's video, as per tradition, I will say a big thank you to Haterous Monarch for sending in some cool pictures of a little 300 point battle he had between his Imperial Guardsman and a Demon Prince and Bloodthirster. Absolutely fantastic pictures, some really, really cool little action shots in there. And yeah, if anyone else is interested in sending me in some pictures for me to use in my videos, please post them down on my Facebook page. There will be a link down in the description below. And if they're cool, like these ones, it's just fun and cool and fluffy, then then I'll use them. Or if there's a particularly good paint job or just some cool conversions, or if I just like them, then I'll try and use them in my videos. Now these pictures are actually really good because they bring me onto a topic that I've wanted to be talking about. Well, I wanted to do a little video on for a while now, which is, it's the best way to put it is almost like gaming etiquette. And that doesn't mean, make sure that you have your shirt tucked in and, you don't cross your arms and, have your fork on the left and your knife on the right or anything like that. It's not like that kind of etiquette. It's almost like you have to, I would say, you have to adjust your play style for the situation that you're in. Now, the reason I think this is important is because on this channel we talk a lot about competitive tactics with the pure Imperial Guard, going to tournaments, and of course in that situation, whilst you want to have fun, it's a tournament, you are there to win. There is no prize at pretty much any tournament I've ever been to for did you have the most fun game. You have like best opponent and stuff like that, but who had the most fun prize? You see what I mean? Like that doesn't exist. It's a tournament. You're there to win. And so in that situation, you still want to be polite and civil, and you still want to be a good person. It doesn't mean you can't have a laugh with your opponent, but the etiquette in that situation is you should try to win. Okay, because your opponent is going to be trying to win as well. And if you go to a tournament, and it's a bit of an interesting one, and you absolutely smash your opponent, and you don't feel like he was trying very hard, and he was just, messing around, then I personally can sometimes find that very frustrating. Because, I'm at a tournament, I want to have a serious game. I'm still having a laugh with my opponent. I'll still buy him a beer. We'll still, shake hands and smiles and all, and all that kind of stuff. But there's a certain understanding that both sides are going to try their best to win. Now, that's the kind of attitude you want to have at a tournament. And you want to be, having fun, but you also want to be almost professional about it. You're both there to win, and it does matter who wins in that situation. Okay, but again, I can't stress this enough. You're not being whacker. You're not being an absolute dick to this guy. You're not smiling or interacting with him. No, that's also you have to interact with him. You have to be a nice guy and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you should try your absolute hardest. And your opponent, and if I'm ever on the receiving end of someone who's maybe going a bit easy on me in a tournament, I will always tell them no, come on. This is a tournament. Do your fucking worst. Bring it on, kind of thing. Because you might say, well, why would anyone ever want to go easy? Sometimes you get nice people who go to tournaments and they've got absolutely incredible lists, but they're not really a tournament player. And sometimes like, oh, that'd be a bit evil if that'd be a bit mean. That was a really big blow, kind of thing. And you've got to be like, you've almost, it's their mistake if they do that, but it's almost. You've got to almost be like, no, come on, this is a tournament. If you're going to play properly, and whoever wins at the end of this, we shake hands, and we can honestly say to each other, buy each other beer, we can honestly say, that was a tough, close-fought game, and where both sides gave it their all. That's the kind of etiquette you want to have in a tournament. Nice, professional, playing to win, but making sure that you're not being a dick. Like, that's the key. Okay. Now, what's really And I have found myself doing this, and I want to use an example of almost a mistake that I've made, and I'd say almost recently that I've made, which I personally felt a bit bad about. Okay, and this wasn't at the tournament. This is on the complete flip side. This is when you're at home doing your basement battle reports. You know, beer and pretzels, Sunday afternoon battle. In that situation, it's very important that you don't go full tournament mode on someone. Okay, you're obviously still playing to win. Okay, but you have to understand that, like, this is probably your friend that you're playing against. Okay, this is, maybe someone who's going to become a long-term opponent, and if you're there rules lawyering and you've brought absolute filth to the table, and you're being really precise and you're insisting your opponent's really precise and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, it's not being you can't be sloppy, but you don't have to check everything your opponent does or anything like that. If you're being like that, you're bringing the wrong attitude to that game. Honestly, this might sound weird coming from me, but in that situation, in that battle, it doesn't 100% matter who wins, and you don't need to bring a super optimized list to a friendly game like that. Obviously, if you agree with your opponent beforehand, we're going all out, smashy time, fine. That's like if you're doing tournament practice, fine, I get it. But if this is a casual Sunday afternoon game, hey Joe, do you want to come over and just roll some dice? I've got a few beers in the fridge. That's fine. Like that, he's not going to bring over. He's probably not going to bring over a super optimized list, and you shouldn't bring a super optimized list either. And I've been guilty of sometimes, especially when I've been going to a few tournaments or I've been in sort of tournament mode. I've been guilty of bringing my tournament brain to my Sunday afternoon games. And a very good example of this is if someone's got a new army, they're going to be learning it. Okay, and if they're learning that army, it's really like, yeah, you probably could very easily smash them because they're not going to remember all their rules. They're not going to have figured out all the combinations yet. Yeah, they're not going to be anywhere near optimized, especially if you're using your good old trusty Imperial Guard, where you don't even need to look at the codex anymore because you know exactly what every weapon in your army does, and the only time you ever open your codex is to prove to your opponent the thing that you're trying to do. Then you're at a massive advantage. And so it's really important that especially if he's got a new army, maybe you've not faced that army before, then it's really important that you don't just go all out tournament mode on him. And an example I can use against myself, where I've done this, is when I had that game. It's on the channel if you want to go check it out. It's a really good battle report, but it's when my Imperial Guard took on Johnny's Knights. Now, because I'm so used to facing Imperial Knights at tournaments, the moment that Johnny revealed those things, my instinct was just to switch to tournament mode. Because I do fucking hate playing Imperial Knights in a casual setting, just because I play them so often. Every tournament I go to, I will, 5 games, I will play 2 Imperial Knight armies. If I'm playing a one-day tournament, I will play 1, maybe 2 Imperial Knight armies. They're that prevalent. And so I hold my hands up, and what I really sort of think is that, like, I was using my Imperial Guard. Johnny had told me to bring over filth, so I did have a filthy pre-tournament competitive list, but because I went tournament mode in that game, it was a bit unfair because this was Johnny's new army, and I didn't pay my etiquette wasn't right because I didn't pay any attention to how he would feel about losing with this new army that he's just stunk like several £100 into, getting two Castellans and a regular knight from Games Workshop, and he bought an airbrush so he could get them painted up, and he built them, and he really wanted to have a cool game with them. And instead, I was going like full retard mode and was being really competitive in that game because that's what I'm used to being like when facing knights. That's what I'm having to be like because they're so good. And so I didn't really take into account my opponent's feelings. It's a two-way game. I don't really take into account, what my opponent would feel like at the end of that game. And so there were a couple of times, especially at the beginning, especially in the sort of the first half of the game, where I was being way too harsh. I was being way too picky about things, and being really measuring twice everything, setting everything up just right. And really, what I should have done is just been like, oh, cool, Johnny's got a new army. Let's just throw some things down. Let's throw some models down. Let's roll some dice. Let's see how nasty this gets. Let's just see how badass it becomes. Let's see what this game's like. That's what I should have been like. That's a failure on my part, on my gaming etiquette. Because then, you can see it in your opponent's face. We can all read body language. Most humans are very, even those which are quite introverted, most humans are very expressive, especially with body language and especially facial language. And even though it was a really good game, me and Johnny shook hands and we had a good time and it balanced out in the end. It was, I could see he was a little down the mouth because this is a new army, and he really wanted to surprise me, and he really wanted to be smashing loads of stuff apart. And he did, but it can be a little bit disappointing when you've got a new army and you've spent weeks, maybe months, perfecting what doing a good list and painting it up and doing your fluffing and doing your head cannon, and someone just comes along and just beats you. That can be a little annoying. That can be a little frustrating, a little disheartening. Now, I'm not saying I should have let Johnny win. No, we were doing, especially because we were doing a battle report. That wouldn't have been appropriate. But almost maybe I should have not done the battle report. Maybe I should have just been like, no, put the camera away. Let's just have a fun game. And see how the dice roll out. So that's the key difference there, guys. And I think it's something that I make the mistake a lot. Sometimes I can get, sometimes I can, if I've been doing a lot of tournaments and I come to a friendly game, I can sometimes be a bit intense and I have to rewire my brain and I have to remember this is a friendly game. We have to have fun. But obviously there's the two, if this is the right word, the two dichotomies of being a wargamer. Okay, you have to adjust your personality and the way you play to the environment that you're in. And there's one last situation that we're going to keep it quick because I've gone on a bit longer than I wanted to already. One last situation that I would talk about is if you're going to a new club and you don't know the people there, if you rock up, you've sort of messaged the club leader on Facebook, and he's like, yeah, man, come down. Let's just we'll find your opponent, blah blah blah, pick up game, all that kind of stuff. If you do that, and you turn up at this place with your absolute filthy cheese army, and you go in there, you just smash your opponent the first game you're down at the new club, you're going to create a certain impression about yourself. And I would almost say, and it's always a good thing to do this, but the first time you go to a club, don't go there with the intention of smashing the enemy and winning. Okay, this is your third kind of etiquette. Go there because it's all about first impressions. And if you turn up and these guys are basically just one above Games Workshop players who just have fun, and you absolutely turn up with your bunker busting MLG Pro Tour 360 no scope over 9,000 power level army and just smash them, they're all going to get there. They might not want to play you again. Whereas if you turn up and you say, yeah, I didn't know what to bring, so I just brought something casual, don't mind if I lose, let's just roll some dice, and you lose and you get smashed and they're all really hyper-competitive players, then that's fine. You know that. And you go back again the next week and you're like, right, I really enjoyed the game, guys, I'm ready to up my game a little bit. Who wants to take on a hardcore game? You put that in the Facebook chat or something. And then you know. Or you go to a club and they're all like, oh, we like casual games. And you're like, okay, cool, I'm just going to bring my fluffy army. The first time you go to a club, you have to make sure you don't, because your first games, your first impressions are going to decide whether those people are going to want to keep playing with you. It's almost, I'm not saying lose the game. Again, I'm not saying lose the game, because that's the wrong kind of etiquette. You're not giving your opponent a challenge. It's like a hollow game for them. But don't go in there all guns blazing. Judge the situation. Use a goddamn bit of common courtesy. Okay? So, I hope that video all makes sense. I know for a lot of you, this will be second nature, common knowledge, but it's something, you know, I've been playing Warhammer for a long time. It's something I find myself doing, bringing my tournament brain to casual games. And I genuinely have to remind myself, I have to step back and go, whoa, okay, like, does it really, you know, like, this guy's just having a bit of fun, you know, stop being such a hard ass. And I've got to remind myself to do that sometimes. And we all, especially if we go, those of us who go to a lot of tournaments, you have to remember, when we're at a tournament, we play to win. And when we are not at a tournament, when we're going to a new environment, it's important that we regulate our behaviour. Okay, because that's what's called being polite, common courtesy, and that's gamer etiquette. And that, you know, last thing to say is that can also apply to video games. If you're getting in with a new video gaming group, it's the same sort of thing. You know, maybe, you know, if they like to play games against each other, you don't want to be, you know, exploiting everything and making them all feel like shit. But on the other hand, if you go in the first couple of games, like, you're taking a bit easy and they're absolutely smashing you, then it's time to pick it up, son, and, you know, get good. And so it applies to a lot of things in life, this. Life lessons of Mordian glory. There you go. Anyway, thought it's important because I'm getting back into a lot more tournaments now. Got a few lined up this year. Probably got, I'm not going tournament mad, but I think I've got about 4 tournaments lined up for the next 3-4 months. So, yeah, that's gonna be good, and that's just me reminding, you know, that's just me showing how gamer etiquette is important. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.